All right, folks. I'm back for another tailgate talk. I want to explain a little bit about myself. This has nothing to do with anything that I've been ranting and raving about, and sometimes I get passionate and I throw some expletives out there that maybe some of you people don't like. I'm gonna say this one more time. If you don't like what I have to say, just don't watch my show. Just don't watch it. It's that simple. Nobody's forcing you to watch what I say. Um, I was born in Panama City, Florida. I grew up deer hunting, fishing, working. Um, Pretty much had a good life. I had a good set of parents. My parents are still alive, by the way. Don't think they're not. They were good to me. You know, when I turned 16, I take that back. When I was 15, my daddy and me went and got a truck, paid, I don't know, $200 for it, drug it home with a rope. I worked on it in the driveway till I got it fixed, and I drove it for several years, and I made several improvements, and thank goodness I had a guy down the road that took to me, and he knew how to paint, and I got it ready, and we painted it, and I traded up till I got something nice. I mean, and I was proud of what I had. I really was, because nobody gave it to me. I earned what I had. It was a nice truck. I was proud of it. And I kept trading up. And then I got old enough to work, and thank God I had the connections I needed to get the good jobs and make the good money. And I've made decent money most of my life, honestly. I've never had to work minimum wage jobs. I know some people have, and I don't know what to say. I've just been fortunate. That's all I'm gonna say. And the reason that I do these tailgate talks is, and I never would have thought to do it before, but folks, us Southern people, and y'all know who I'm talking to, it's not everybody. People are different in this country. You've got all kind of people in this country. You got people that don't know anything but walking their dog around the block and eating at McDonald's and walking back home. They don't even own a vehicle. They ride a subway to work, if that, or either bicycle or whatever. And then you got people in the Midwest that commute 100 miles every day to work and ride tractors all day and plant crops and make food. And then you got us down here in the southern part of the country. You know, my commute to work's probably 12, 15 miles. It takes me about 30 minutes. But I can't ride a subway to work. It's not that simple. It's just, and I feel like we've got a government institution up there now that has become, well, I can't say become, they don't understand all of that. When you get enough people in charge that are not in tune with everything that goes on, all they see is what they do, and they're making the laws, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they really don't know what everybody else is doing. And you know, sometimes I get judgmental on people, and the older I get, the more I realize you need to stop and look at the circumstances before you judge somebody, because you don't know what their struggles are. And maybe they brought it on themselves, maybe they didn't. But I can tell you this country is being dismantled right now from the top down. And you're sitting there, and I know, hell, I've been guilty of it too. You're sitting there thinking, well, it don't affect me. I'm not worried about it because it's not, folks, it is going to affect you. It may not be right now, but it's coming. Our government is spending money hand and fist, trillions of dollars. And I can't even fathom how much that is. From what I understand, you can't even haul $1 trillion off in a semi-tractor trailer. And they're just pissing it away. And somehow or another, one or two things is going to happen. Either we're going to have to pay it back to who we borrowed against, which is China, or we're going to have a war to do away with it. Now, do you really want a war? I don't. I honestly don't, because a lot of bad things are going to happen. And there's other means of doing what we're trying to do. But, you know, the more I study and the more I listen and study our government and what we got up there now, it's pitiful. It's really pitiful who's running our country. This is not a democracy, folks. Democracy's different. This is a republic. You need to do your research and study on what the difference is in a democracy and a republic. And start educating yourself on the way things in this country are supposed to be. Because right now, the news media, the government, the news media, and everybody, they're the ones running this country. And the social media, to a degree, they're criticizing and facts checking and all this shit. And truthfully, they probably don't have enough sense to fact check nobody. All it is if it's anything that goes against what they believe, they take it down. That's no way to be. And you need to educate yourselves on the fact we've got people tearing our statues down, tearing all this history down that this country was founded on. And maybe in your eye, it wasn't right the way this country was built. But you know, when the country was founded and there was slavery and all this, those people didn't know any different. It wasn't like they knew they were doing wrong because they had slaves. That was just the way it was. And we fought a civil war to get rid of slavery. A civil war. Thousands of our citizens died on account of that, to do away with slavery. And still today, 150, 200 years later, we are still fighting over it. Really, y'all? You know, I don't see that. I just don't get it. All I see is a bunch of whining crybaby asses that's wanting something they don't deserve. Get your ass out there and earn what you got coming. There ain't nobody keeping a black person from getting a job. Not where I come from. Hell, they got preference to get jobs. So let's cut all the horse shit out. It's just like the Black History Month. There ain't no black history. There's American history. Believe it or not, as shitty as you may feel like you was treated, you're an American, and that's just part of our history. And those Confederate soldiers and all those Confederate statues y'all tore down, that was part of our history. Shitty as you may think it was, tearing it down ain't doing a damn thing, because it is what it is. You can tear it all down, but it's still there. It ain't doing any good. All you're doing is inflaming the situation and making more and more people pissed off. But I'm just trying to explain why I'm doing what I do. It's kind of entertaining to me, and I'm not funny about it. None of this I say is in fun. I'm serious about what I say. I love my life. I love this country. I think this country's wonderful. But when I see it being torn down from the inside out, it's horrible. It's like a cancer. And the only way to stop it is us. We have to stop it. We elect these people that make these laws. They work for us. We don't, they're not our parents. They're not telling us what to do. We elect them to represent us. And that's where we've gone south, because they don't represent us anymore. They feel like they know better and we're to do what they tell us to do. It's a bunch of shit. It's all a bunch of shit, and that's where it went south. It's just like when people started telling folks they can't spank their youngins. That's that's one of the biggest issues we got, is when you can't discipline your child because somebody else decides you can't do it. That's a bunch of horse shit. Like I said last night, mind your own damn business. Child abuse is one thing, disciplining your youngin' is another. And I know I'm not the only one. There's a pile of us and that are sick of this shit. We're done with it. And there's a time coming when it's going to all hit the fan if things don't change, and it's not going to be a good outcome for the people that ride the subways and walk on the cement, because they don't know how to live. They're dependent on everything in their life. They're dependent on somebody else for everything they do. They don't know how to grow any vegetables. They don't know how to gather any game. Hell, they think you buy meat from the supermarket and you don't have to kill animals to get it. It's just in the supermarket. I guess somebody makes it. I don't know what they think, but and I hate to see it. I got nothing against people that ride subways and walk on cement and don't eat meat. I really don't. What I got something against is when they shove it down my throat because of the way I live. When they hadn't done their research on the diversities of this country. It's not all the same. It's not. And I just wanted to do this to clarify why I do what I do and why I say what I say, and I offend people. If the truth hurts you, you got issues. Don't watch my show. Don't pay no mind to me. Don't listen to me. I don't want nothing to do with you. If you're that kind of person, go watch CNN News and listen to that bunch of lying bastards. Don't listen to me, because I'm going to speak my mind and what I think is true. If it ain't, I'm sorry for it. I'll correct myself. I'm that much of a man. But what I see happening now and today in this country is pitiful. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. It's crazy what's going on right now. And I know, and I'm talking to you Southern folks and people like me, you're sitting there and you're thinking, it ain't that. Folks, we've got to get our head out of our asses before it's too late, because once they implement it, it's done. It's done. Government law is damn near as resilient as Freon. It never goes away. It's here forever. And we've got to do something to change it. And we've got to start standing up for what we believe in and what's right. And if you can't see what these Democrats are doing, you need to get your head out of your ass and start looking, because none of it's good. They're devising them a scheme where there's nothing we can do. They're going to implement their plans. If they keep going and we don't do something to stop it, it's going to get to the point where we can't do anything to stop it. And then when we get to that point, they're going to ram that shit through and shove it up our ass. We're going to be a bunch of sheep. They're going to be up there in Washington eating their damn fancy meals and drinking with their fingers out and bragging on how they fucked all the Americans. And we're going to be down here in a bread line somewhere hoping we can get a meal for our family. And I hope to God I don't live that long, but I'm afraid it's coming quicker than I realize. And we've already shown that we can live together. This country's old, and it hadn't been that bad. I'm 54, and it's not been that bad. I mean, but what's coming is not going to be good. I don't understand why they can't just accept the way things are and leave it alone. But they got to make their changes, and they got to do this, and they got to do that, and they got to take your guns, and they got to raise the price of gas. They got to tell you what you can eat, what you can't eat. Why are they so power hungry? What difference does it make to them what our kids eat in school or what I drive to work every day? You know, they can raise gas prices to $10 a gallon. If I still choose to drive a gas guzzling truck, that's my choice. That's the American way. That's what Americans do. If I say, well, I can't afford $10 gas, I'm going to buy a smart car. There you go. You have that choice. That is the American way. We're not raised and brought up to have the government dictate to us that we're going to drive electric cars and smart cars because they've raised gas prices. We all need to realize that and make them understand that we realize it. Because if we don't, we're nothing but slaves to them. And it upsets me to no end. I like to live my own life and be my own person. And I know all of y'all do too. But it's coming to a time when they're going to dictate to everything we do. Everything. How many hours you work, what you drive to work, what you eat, how much power you can have in your house in a month, how many rolls of toilet paper you're allowed, what food you're allowed. It's coming if we don't do something about it. Y'all can think I'm a lunatic, but I firmly believe this. I'm not a lunatic either, by the way. And you can think what you want to, but that's how I see this folding out. I really see it. I see it. And you got people, you know, I've got tractors, I've got boats, I go fishing in the Gulf, I go bass fishing, I run deer with dogs, I drive four-wheel drive trucks, I burn gas. And then you got people that live in cities that don't even own cars. They commute to work on subway trains, or they walk, or they ride their bicycle. That's fine. The problem I got is they don't understand how the rest of the nation works. They don't know where they get that bag of beans or that steak that they eat last night. They think it just magically appears at the grocery store. And it don't. Somebody has to grow those beans, and somebody has to grow that cow and butcher it to make that beef that they're eating. And they're doing all they can to do away with fuel. And everything that runs this country runs on fuel. Now, if they want to make it all electric, that's great. But you can't just all of a sudden tell us we can't have our fuel, we're going to cut it off, before you have a plan for the electric. Honestly, I don't think the electric's going to work. Hell, I'm willing to try it. Son of a bitch, I'd be like, it would be nice to have a truck that was a quiet run on electric motor. But until they get all that figured out, they need to leave the rest of us alone so the nation can function. And I don't think they're capable of it. I don't think they realize, like I said, They live up there in a concrete jungle. They don't know anything about anything that anybody does except them. They're only thinking of themselves. And until they realize what makes this country run, we're in a bad way. A really, really bad way. And that's the reason I spend time every day talking on this YouTube channel about this. And yeah, I get passionate, and yeah, I get carried away and all that. But folks, it's just me. It is what it is. I'm worried about our nation. I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about my gas prices. It all affects me. The taxes affects me. I don't make $400,000 a year, but if you tax them people that do, it's gonna trickle right on down to me and you, right on down to the people that don't make anything. It's gonna trickle down to. It don't work that way. You need to do your research and study and listen. Don't get brainwashed by the idiots on CNN and them. And don't just listen to Fox or some of them other news channels. Listen to all of them and listen to what they've got to say and form your own opinion. I mean, just listen and study what's going on here. We got a president that can't even do a speech, y'all. He can't even talk. And I've said this again and again. I don't know Joe Biden. I don't know him. I do know that the man ain't coherent and he ain't right. I know that for a fact. And if he's the leader of this country, and that woman he's got for a vice president ain't gonna do no better because she don't have a clue on how to do anything. But anyway, I just wanted to do this to clear this up. Y'all have a good weekend, a good Easter. I hope your Easter's great. And I hope you realize what Easter is all about. And y'all have a good night. Later on.